name is Leon Charles Brunson. I'm from Panama City, Florida. I've been in Tallahassee for 7 years now. Goodness, actually, I moved here in 2016, so almost, what is that, 9 years? 9 years now. So I started cooking at Waffle House. I didn't cook at home with my mom, my dad, none of us cooked at home. My mom was working at Winn-Dixie, so she oftentimes got us fast food, and my dad was working for the city of Parker, so he really wasn't trying to cook when he got off. And I needed a job to pay for gas money, and at the time, gas was pretty expensive, and I had this giant van, so I applied at a couple places. Waffle House was the only place that called me back, and I just loved the restaurant. And yeah, at the end of that Waffle House tenure, and I was kind of getting to the end of high school, I was either torn on going into music and being a musician, or should I continue and just be a chef, or should I continue to try to be a chef? And I decided to go into food. This thing happened because of Cool Beans Cafe. The owner of Cool Beans Cafe ended up purchasing this business from Mickey's Lakeside Cafe. I believe they started going out of business in 2017 or 2018, and Keith, the owner of Cool Beans Cafe, had lucked up and got the note that this place was going to be available. So he ended up acquiring the business. After he acquired the business, he did a bunch of leasehold renovations and had a concept in mind. But I think when he got in here, he realized how small this spot is and how difficult it would be to operate a high volume lunch service. So 2 years down the road, he announced that he wasn't going to open the restaurant, and he jokingly had said to me, he was like, "Do you want to buy a restaurant?" I was like, I mean, I'm a broke college kid at the time, so I'm like, well, how much are you asking? So I ended up, kind of having an idea of how much he wanted. I did a fundraiser. I kind of got the money together. I had a concept. I went to the FAMU Small Business Development Center and had them look at my business plan. Went to him and he had said, "Sorry, I just sold it yesterday." And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even really want this restaurant, but I did for a half second. Turns out the pandemic was like a week later. So it actually lucked out really well. And over that year, from the pandemic and when I wanted the restaurant initially, I did all these private dinners in Tallahassee and caterings and kind of got my footing with business. I did a lot of online promotional cooking classes when people couldn't leave their homes. And you fast forward, and I had a lot of word of mouth sharing through Tallahassee foodies. One person booked me for a private dinner. Then people realized they wanted to have that elevated food experience inside their own home. From that point on, it was just booking after booking after booking. A year later, I went to Keith and I was like, "Hey, I need a commercial space that I can grow this thing out of." And he ended up giving me a really great deal, a wonderful view, and that was in 2021. So once I got in here, I had this big concept for, if I keep going the path that I'm going, this place is going to be too small by the time it opens. And here we are. So actually, before I got this location, I was a private chef for a family. And even before I was, here and doing all the dinners, I would start all my dinners at my house. I would do all the prep and the small cook stuff, nothing that needed to be cooked. And then I would get to the home and finish it. But really, I started doing my cooking classes in my home. I had built this elaborate cooking class setup in which I had a giant cutting board. I had 4 cameras, and I had an Atom Mini Pro that I could run my own live stream class and produce it at the same time. So I had a master, I had a top down, I had a 3/4, and I had a food angle that all plugged into something that I would switch, and I would stream this on Twitch, I'd stream it on Facebook. And as I'm talking, I would talk to the main camera. If I had something top down, I would switch to the top down view. If I was finished with a plate, it would go to 3/4 angle. I built my own audio, and I was able to interact with the guests that were watching these classes as I'm producing it, as I'm cooking. And that's what really got me started in this online media space to eventually do cooking competitions with T-Pain, and I wanted a high quality production for what I was doing. I was just gonna go straight into production and social media, but then I started getting booked for private dinners here in Tallahassee. So I actually put all of that on a hold so I could start doing private dinners here. I feel like I always engage in a lot of hobbies or activities in my life, and the biggest thing that I always want to do is make sure that I give the most effort that I possibly can in this thing that I'm engaging in, so that it pays back all the way to my mom, because my mom's going to be the reason that she's going to support me and make sure that I go through and do whatever I want. If I wanted to play DDR, if I wanted to play Yu-Gi-Oh, if I wanted to get saxophone lessons, no matter what, regardless if we had the funds to do it, she always made sure that there was something that she could do to make it happen. And for me, while I couldn't pay that back monetarily, how I could pay that back is by making sure that I achieved the highest skill, the highest achievement of whatever it is that she was going to put in for me. So if that was dance games, that was winning tournaments. If it was saxophone, it was all county. And then for the restaurant, that was a little more difficult, because how do you to justify going into the hospitality and restaurant field. It would mean awards, it would mean TV shows, it would mean all these different things. And when I got into the field, that kind of stuff almost seems imaginary. Like, you don't get into it for that. So to be able to have my family come here to the restaurant, to be able to have the restaurant featured on Food Network, to be able to just be supported by the community, it's awesome because it shows, like, to my parents, specifically my mom, that this is something that, like, was worth it. Like, it was worth every single investment, any kind of missed. It just justifies all the time. It's like I missed from the family. And they're able to see it full force. For me, what's next is going to be kind of putting a bow on this restaurant and getting all of the I's dotted and T's crossed. Beer and wine, online ordering, consistent hours, maybe even extended hours, and just kind of getting all the details of this restaurant finished. And honestly speaking, then after that, I just want to focus on media. I want to see what it's like to then produce a cookbook, or start doing interviews on bigger shows, or see if there's a way to promote this thing bigger than just Tallahassee. Because I feel like I have the opportunity to, I have the social media, I could potentially have the personality to then go and impress a lot of these people on networks. So I want to see what that's like. So I don't want to open restaurants, I don't want to expand the business, I don't want to do any of that. I just want to set up something great for people here at Lake Ella that they can count on, know when they can come in, have a consistent meal, bring family members in. I want to be able to help with the food insecurity situation here in Northwest Florida. And then I just want to see what this looks like on a national scale. I think that's just about it. I'm tired, man, I'm tired.